I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the 3-minute correction that teachers can use without shaming. So in this video, we're going to talk about the problem that teachers often run into, which can lead to shaming problems with their students, sometimes when they don't even realize it. Then we're going to talk about a new type of correction that you can do quickly in just 3 minutes in your classroom. And then we're going to talk about why it works. Most teachers have the best intentions. They want to keep their classrooms running smoothly so that everyone can learn. Not just that one certain type of student who's motivated and focused, but everyone. And oftentimes, in fact, almost every time, there are going to be a few students who like to throw things off course. They like to attention seek, maybe they're going to be silly, they like to tease other students, they get distracted, they cause disruptions, and teachers have to handle this. And they want to do it in a way that feels safe and understanding for the student who needs that correction. They don't want to shame them, but they also need to quickly be able to get them back on track. How do you do that? So often teachers will try to help a student get back on track. It starts with nagging, then it often goes to consequences, maybe even threats before we get to consequences. And then sometimes the teacher's emotions take over and they start saying things that they regret later because they might actually be things that attack the child personally, target the child personally, which could end up leading to shaming. And the teachers don't want to do that. And I understand that. I've taught in many circumstances, in private schools, in private academies, as well as being a homeschooler, teaching in church groups and classes, youth groups in my community. And I know that we want to be able to get through to them, get things back on track, but also let them know, no hard feelings, we still care about you, all at the same time. One time I was teaching a Shakespeare class for a group of youth, all between the ages of 12 and 18. And in this Shakespeare Conquest class, they needed to memorize things. We were going to work on a play. We were going to learn the life of Shakespeare. They were going to be technically learning a whole new language, because when you memorize Shakespeare, that's pretty much an entirely new vocabulary, especially for a lot of youth. And so they needed to focus in, especially because we needed to get through these play rehearsals and these long batches of memorization and fine-tuning of what this language meant. Some students could maybe get bored if their part wasn't coming up soon. And so we had opportunities for people to get distracted because of boredom and then start causing disruptions to the other students in the class. I needed to do something about it, so I decided to engage in my 3-minute corrections that usually get everybody on track. Before I ever started teaching this class with these students, I pre-taught them about what words I would say and what I would do to correct them. Part of that pre-teaching included how I would feel about the correction during the time of correction. If you don't explain what you're going to be thinking and feeling during the time of correction to the students or the children that you're working with, then that leaves the door open for them to assume that you feel and think certain things about them. I like to be completely deliberate, completely intentional, and any interactions or teaching moments that I have with anyone, but especially with children. And so I just tell them all of it. This makes it so that they don't have to take things personally. In fact, they know up front I'm not taking things personally. So what did I tell my students ahead of time? I taught them the 4 basic skills of self-government, which I'll tell you how to learn that later. And then I taught them how I would correct them, the exact steps to a correction that I would go through, even what consequences they might earn if I happen to have consequences in the class for extremely disruptive behavior. Then I talked to them about what I would think during the time, and I often say something like this. If I need to take time to do a correction, no problem. That's no big deal, because sometimes we need a little help getting back on track. I will say these exact words. And when I say these exact words, I will be thinking, no problem, you got this. And when I'm done with the exact words of the correction, Then I will just drop the subject in my own head and I will go forward in the classroom as if it never even happened. I'm not going to spend my time thinking about your bad behavior, and I suggest you don't spend your time thinking about it either, but just move on and do the right thing. So I'm going to tell you the steps to this 3-minute correction, and it's even going to probably take less than 3 minutes to show you what it's like. I'm just leaving room for them to maybe process or for you to have to describe something major that happened. But before I do that, I just want you to know why this 3-minute correction that I'm going to share with you actually works. It helps to, number one, maintain dignity. So it's calm. I'm being calm. They are taught how to be calm when I teach them all of those 4 basic skills of self-government, and I'll get to how to do that in just a second. It also models respect for them. When I am doing the correction, it shows them I respect you, and this is how you can respect me. You can use this same calm voice tone that I'm going to use, because it's the calm voice tone that really models the respect the most. Also, in my own head as a teacher, because I've worked on my own calmness, I tell myself, don't take this personal. In fact, this isn't personal, it's just a behavior, and you can teach them what to do. When it's just a behavior, they'll get back on track soon enough. So I don't assume the worst of them, even if they've done it 12 times that day. The other thing that this type of correction does is it teaches them ownership. I'm not doing something to them. I am instilling in them the empowerment, the confidence of you can do this. Here's the skill you need. I know you can accomplish this. I have complete faith in you. If they fail at it, they also know it's completely on them. There's the ownership. I'm going to follow through with the correction as needed. So let's talk about this correction and what it sounds like. First thing that I do in a good correction is just describe what I'm seeing. Now, this only works well if you've pre-taught ahead of time what types of things are not acceptable in the classroom. So if I've taught my children about attention seeking, let's say, and how attention seeking is a no answer, and what the steps are to a no answer, then I can simply say, Melissa, you're attention seeking right now. You are talking to other people and trying to get them to laugh at you when I'm teaching the class. That does not show respect for the rest of your classroom. What you should do is you should keep a calm face, voice, and body and choose not to talk right now and wait till the appropriate time, okay? So what I did was 3 things. I described what I saw and what Melissa was doing. I described why it wasn't a good idea because she wasn't actually going to gain the respect from her classmates. And then I told her what she should do. Then I said, okay, and I moved on. Now, this is the moment where I literally would say, okay, I would get the okay from her. And if she changes her path, I have no worries. I'm going to just now move on with my other students. If she doesn't change her path, then she would have been pre-taught ahead of time. If I need to keep correcting the problem, I will tell her what negative consequence she has earned. Because of course, we have to have some sort of a system of an economy in our classroom so that there are negative consequences, because some students actually need that to dissuade them from doing that negative behavior that's getting in the way of classroom productivity and unity. So it could be that I might say to Melissa at the very end of the correction, now remember, if you can't choose to be calm and drop the subject about whatever you're talking about for now, and those are both things that are associated with the accepting a no answer skill that I would have taught her ahead of time. I say, if you can't do that for now, then I need to do a full correction and you get the opportunity to earn an extra chore or whatever the negative consequence is in your classroom. With parents, I talk about extra chores. Sometimes with teachers, they even use extra chores in their classroom, like classroom chores. This is a very classic thing to do. You know, remember the old bang the erasers thing from back in the old days. Anyway, I know that erasers look very different nowadays in modern classrooms, but doing something that benefits the classroom. That could be something, or maybe you have something else in your negative consequence system within your classroom. That's when you would remind them that that's what would happen next. And then you would move on with the rest of your teaching, and you would in your own head say, I'm not thinking about that anymore. I'm dropping the subject. Melissa could feel you dropping the subject about that. You don't even have to say it. She can feel you smile at her and other students and engage in the lesson material and not refer to what she did or look at her in a negative way at all. So that's how you move on. Now there's more information here, right? We were talking about these 4 basic skills. There's actually even more steps to doing a correction. I'd like to share those with you, but this video is already long enough. Let's go ahead and move to my next video, which is called The Teaching System That Builds Respect, Calm, and Leadership. I'll see you there.